Okay, we're going to talk about the Y-intercept calculations, the so-called Y-intercept calculations. And I figured that since we're having some meetings on this, I would demonstrate this. We'll see if I can demonstrate this in 15 minutes or less. So if you have a cap number and we're being asked to do the Y-intercept calculations, first thing you do is you'd go to the details page of that cap number and find the building that's always here. It's called building name. So in this case, Sacramento Fair Oaks Medical Office, and there's a CAFM number down there, CN 6152. Then what you do is you'd go to NG, and hopefully you have a standard report set up. I have a standard report set up. If you don't, then we can talk about getting you a standard report set up. Or you can screenshot this and try to get everything off of the screenshot. And what you do is you'd run 3 years for that building, CN 51. I'm sorry, what was it? And I screwed it up. CN 6152, CN 6152. Sometimes it has the dash in it, sometimes it doesn't, but here's my building. And I just run report. My standard report includes the location, the square footage, the month. I look at natural gas plus electricity in therms. I actually include cost here, which is not necessary for the calculation we're going to do. Here's the usage, and then I include cooling degree days and heating degree days. Then I always choose export to CSV. I find that if you export to Excel, then you get a bunch of formatting that you may or may not want associated with that. So I export it to CSV. And then the first thing I do is I pop that open. Let me drag it over here. And I save it with the building number and the cap number. So the cap number that we're looking at here is cap 027057. So I'm going to take my report and save it just into my downloads folder at the moment as 027057. Historical and utility data, and this is going to be an Excel file, not a CSV. And can I actually get the building number here? CN 61-52. So I'll put that in the file name too. So CN 60. So now I have my cap number and my building number in the file name, right? Great. Okay, so now let's play around with this, and I'll kind of work quickly here. You can pause the video. I'll show you what I do to get the charts that we talk about. First off, since I run both of these, I run electric and natural gas, then I'm actually going to have to separate those a little bit. And so I add myself a couple of columns, usually about 4 gets it right. And then I'll take the net, and then I'll take this whole thing here, just put a copy up one line, cost, service type, EOM, and usage. And you see that I have to mess around with this. You guys might have better ways of doing this, and that's totally fine. And then I make a table out of the whole thing. So I'm going to insert a table, boom. Then I have to delete every other line. So the way that I do that is I look for the therms, and I'm just going to take these out. So I'm deleting all those rows. And what that leaves me with is for every month, I have my my electric cost in this column. Then I have my kWh use in this column. I have my natural gas cost in this column, and I have my therms use in this column. Then I can get rid of these extra columns there. Oh, that didn't work out in my favor. It's okay. So now running from left to right, I have my my building name, my location, I have my square footage. For this month, I have an electric cost, then I have a kWh usage, and I have a natural gas cost, and then I have a therms usage, and then I have my heating degree days and my cooling degree days. The next thing I do is I insert 2 of these charts, and you'll see that I'm not selecting any data. I'm literally just inserting 2 totally blank charts. Then I go to that chart and I click select data and I add the first one that I do is the monthly natural gas use. Actually, I'm gonna let's back up a second. We still have the 2 charts, but I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 columns to this table because I kind of want to do this a different way. I'm going to do BTU per square foot for the I'm sorry. I'm going to do watts per square foot electrical, and then I'm going to do BTU per square foot for natural gas. And we'll do this based on 300 hours per month, since this is a medical office building, and we can talk about that later. So for watts per square foot, what I do is I take my monthly kWh, I multiply times 1,000, and then I divide by the square footage, and I divide by 300 hours a month. This gives me a watts per square foot number. For my BTU per square foot, I take my therms. I have to multiply by 1,000 and 100. 1,000 is fine if you want to do that. I divide by square footage, and then I divide by 300 hours per month. So now I have BTU per square foot of heating and watts per square foot of cooling. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Now I'm going to go to my chart design, select data. I'm going to add a range here, and this is going to be BTU per square foot versus heating degree days. And on my x-axis, I'm going to put in my heating degree day value. And then on my y-axis, I'm going to put in my BTU per square foot value. So this is for natural gas. And there we go. There's my chart. Okay, on the other chart, I'm going to select data. And this is going to be watts per square foot versus cooling degree days. On my x-axis, I'm going to put in my cooling degree day data. And then I'm going to put in my watts per square foot data. Boom. And there I have that. Now for both of these charts, I'm going to add a trend line. And when I add the trend line, I'm going to display the equation on the chart, and I'm going to display the R squared value on the chart. Once it puts that up there, I'm actually going to sort of pull it off to the side and increase the font size a little bit so that we can see it nicely. And we'll do that also for the cooling. Oh, sorry, I don't want to format data series. I want to add a trend line, display the equation on the chart, display the R squared along with that, drag that over to the side, maybe give us some more size. Okay, good. So now this is actually all that we need. What we can see here is we have our BTU per square foot versus heating degree days, and then we have our watts per square foot versus cooling degree days. We have a y-intercept in each case. That y-intercept is this number right here, 5.8 and 3.1, and then we have our R squared in each case, our 0.66 and 0.77. And so that gives us everything that we need to start the conversation that we're going to start in the next couple weeks. We can do a bunch of diagnostics based on that, but I just wanted to demonstrate the process for getting that. Once I get that, then what I'd like us to consistently do is take that and file it under the engineering basis of design folder. So I would take that file and just drop it right here under the BOD folder so that now any of us that's looking at the project would always be able to just pop into that and look at the historical data. And then also when you're reviewing the engineer's basis of design, you know, they're going to make claims in the basis of design about energy use, and you'll be able to check it out versus what you already know about the building. All right, that is it. I think we're sitting at 12 minutes, which means I got it done in less than 15. So that's the demo.